Welcome to the show. Please subscribe, and if you can, contribute to it, because we are not funded by the government. We provide independent analysis. And today, Marcus Kolga is my guest. He is with Macdonald-Laurier Institute, providing analysis of what's going on in Ukraine, because I won't put the question to you. The world is focused on the Middle East, the slayings there. And it's no longer focused on the slayings going on in Ukraine with that thug Russian attacking Ukraine. Already, I know people have got their backs up by now. But now, the point is, with the lack of attention, and the world seems to be softening on supporting Ukraine, is there a danger of Ukraine falling?
Well, no, there's always this threat.
They could lose a war.
They could lose if we don't continue that support, if it's not sustained. Absolutely.
And that support doesn't seem to be sustained as much as it did before the Middle East took over.
Well, look, I think that the fact that it's not in the media's eye, it's not in the center of the media,
right.
I'm not sure that that's the biggest concern. I think the biggest concern here is that there are certain parties. In the U.S., there's the Republicans, there's the isolationist sort of stream within the Republican Party that's trying to use Ukraine as a wedge. We're seeing a little bit of that creeping into Canadian politics. Right. And of course, we're seeing that in a few European countries. Viktor Orban in Hungary, of course, the Slovakian new leader is also using it. And so I think that's the bigger concern here.
But that is, some people can get away with that because there isn't the focus of the world on the fact that Putin is attacking another country.
You're absolutely right. And where that focus needs to be is on the civilians. These are people that are suffering, millions of people. Let's not forget that Vladimir Putin has kidnapped 20,000 Ukrainian children. He's holding these children hostage in Ukraine.
Now, let me just stop. I didn't know that. And I read a lot of newspapers from around the world. So that's my point. Is that, you know, if people don't know that, right. Then they aren't going to have the support for Ukraine.
You're absolutely right. So that focus does need to come back on the people of Ukraine, the people who are suffering. That's where the focus needs to be. And those politicians who are trying to use this as a wedge, they need to focus in on that as well.
But I've read that the Russian people are suffering because Putin has successfully converted the economy from a peacetime economy to a wartime. And the Russian people are suffering.
The Russian people have been suffering for 20 years.
But now more so.
Yeah, probably. And it's only going to get worse as this war continues and is prolonged.
And so many soldiers have been killed, Russian soldiers.
Russian soldiers have been killed, and the ones that are going back have PTSD. There is no sort of support for those soldiers and those families. So there's going to be a real problem in Russian society over the next few years.
Could this war go on for years and years and years?
Yeah, it's entirely possible. That's what Vladimir Putin is hoping for. Vladimir Putin is hoping that this is going to go on for the next year, year and a half. He's waiting it out, and his bet is on Donald Trump becoming president again.
Okay. I don't have time to do that. It's a whole new show. But Marcus Kolga, thank you very, very much. 3 minutes. This show provides independent analysis of the issues. We are not paid by the government. And as I am finding, so much business in Canada relies upon various governments that they don't want to sponsor or advertise on a show which may become controversial, which talks about liberty, freedoms, sometimes criticizes government. I've had guests on that support the government. But people are saying, you know what? We don't want to bite the hand that feeds us, i.e. government, which is why I hope you'll subscribe and contribute to keep this show on the air.